So what documents do you need for a mortgage application in the UK? So the documentation that you will need will cover income documents. So this is, of course, to prove your income to the lender. It will also cover bank statements, including proof of address potentially as well. You'll also need to be able to prove your deposit and proof of who you are and your visa status or ability to live and work here in the UK. In this video, I'm going to dive straight into each of these and let you know exactly what you need and what we're looking for. So to start with income documentation, payslips and potentially a P60 will be the first thing that we'll look at. So of course, as long as you're employed, that is what we're looking at. So for payslips, we're normally looking at the last 3 months. If you do overtime or have any commission or stuff like that, sometimes it can be a bit longer. The P60 can also help us to see what your last year's income was, as long as you've been with your employer for longer than a year, of course. So with it, when you're doing any overtime and stuff like that, we normally want to look at the last 3 months payslips and your P60 just to see how consistent that overtime income actually is. Now, sometimes we might actually need your work contract as well, particularly for people that are paid per hour. It's important for us to understand what the minimum hours are in your contract, because depending on the lender, what some lenders will do is they would use your minimum hours in the contract times by your hourly rate times by 52 for the weeks in the year, as long as you're paid weekly, of course, which normally you would be. That would then get your basic salary, or what the lender would take the basic salary as. What we then do with any other hours you do on top of that is it counts as overtime. Some lenders will take 100% of that, others will take less. So it's important that we get this right, and that's why we might actually request the work contract, is so we don't have any unexpected hiccups later down the line. This is exactly why when I'm working with clients, I do all this documentation stuff up front straight away in the process, so we know, right, I can assess it exactly how a lender will look at it when you actually submit when we submit the full application. So it's important we do that up front, because there's no point me giving you an agreement in principle without looking at your documents, and then we get to the stage of you putting an offer forward and then there's all these issues. So we do this bit up front. When it comes to bank statements, we are getting these. We want to see that obviously the income onto the bank statements. Also having a look at spending. Sometimes I think this doesn't matter as much as people might initially think. I know I speak with clients who are a bit worried they've maybe spent a bit too much on takeaways or spent a bit too much on whatever it may be, right? Or on going on holiday or something like that. We're not really looking at that too much. The main things are that you're not in your overdraft. And like, for example, if you had large sums of money coming in from friends and stuff, and then that looks like it's going towards your deposit, that can be an issue if the lender isn't happy with that and if we're not signing it off as a gift. So these are just things for us to look out for. When it comes to deposit and proving that, it depends where it's coming from. So if you've saved this up in the UK, it's very simply going to be whether it's an ISA statement, a savings statement, a bank statement, one of those to prove where it's coming from and how much that you actually have. If it's a gift, it depends who it's coming from and where they live. If they live in the UK, it can as simply be a gifted deposit letter and maybe a bank statement from them as well, just to prove that they've got the funds. If it's from abroad, we might need a bit more information and maybe some more statements to show the build-up of those funds abroad as well. And it depends. If that's abroad and it's a gift, there's quite a lot of checks. If it's abroad and it's yours, again, we're going to need to see the build-up of those funds. If it's a sale of property either here or abroad, we're going to need to see proof of that as well. And finally, when it comes to proving who you are and proving your ability to work here in the UK, we're looking at your passport and your visa card, your BRP, biometric residency permit. However, because all of these have an end date of the end of the year, the end of 2024, that is, because these are going after that, we also will need to see your kind of online proof to see when your visa actually ends. Normally, I'll just get people to forward me the email from Home Office so we can prove that. Other than that, there can be other documents that we request. It really is on a case-by-case basis. So, of course, when we're going through this process with specific clients, we're looking at exactly what they need and making sure we've got everything up front. Hopefully that helps. If you've got any questions, drop it in the comments section below, and I'll be more than happy to answer, and also potentially make a video on it. If you thought this was helpful, please do like and subscribe. That would help me a lot. Also, if you enjoyed this video, I've got another video that I know you'll love. It's called Everything You Need to Know to Buy Your First Home in the UK. And I'm going to put the link somewhere on the screen here so you can click through. If you get onto that, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. It's a step-by-step guide that will help you with everything you need to know. So thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.